Hi, besties. Welcome back to the Bestie Talk podcast. I'm your host, Kianna Jit. And today I'm doing, first of all, before we even get into today's episode, I'm going to start it off with a trigger warning. We are going to be talking about suicide, suicidal thoughts, suicidal tendencies, the causes of suicide or the effects of suicide. All of those different types of conversations are going to go on in today's episode. We're going to be talking about sexual assault. We're going to be talking about grief with death. All of those types of things are going to be talked about in today's episode. So I just wanted to give you guys a real nice big trigger warning that is what today's episode is going to be about. But if you are in the headspace to listen to this, even if you might not deal with these issues or might not deal with these types of thoughts, I encourage you guys to please listen to today's episode, because odds are there is somebody in your life, there is someone around you either that has had these types of thoughts or that will eventually have these types of thoughts. And today's episode is really going to teach you how to help those people, as well as those that have had these thoughts. This podcast episode is going to help you as well be able to feel seen, feel heard, help yourself, help others. It's a really well-rounded episode that I have coming for you guys today. You know that I do all of my episodes all by intuition based. What does Spirit tell me that I needed to be talking about? And today was suicide awareness. But even though I do it all intuition based, I wrote almost everything down that I want to talk about today. I have some notes. So I have a general idea of what we're going to be talking about. So I just wanted to do a little bit of a trigger warning, but I encourage you, if you have the mental capacity to hear this type of topic, I encourage you to please listen to it, share it with people, listen to it whenever you are dealing with these things, or whether you have somebody in your life that's going to be dealing with these types of things, because it's really going to help you. So without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Okay. Number one, I want to be upfront and honest with you guys. Suicide has touched my family in all different aspects. Not only has it touched me, like suicidal attempts, suicidal thoughts, suicidal tendencies has touched me, but it has also touched family members and ancestors, even clients of mine. So I have been both on the receiving end and the one doing, the one feeling, the one handling all of these emotions. But I've also been the family member that has gone through losing somebody to suicide. So when I say that I know how this feels, I am not joking. Okay. I have my great grandmother, died from suicide. I have an uncle who passed from suicide. I have a client who passed from suicide. I myself have attempted suicide. I have dealt with all of those struggles. So I understand everything that you could be feeling. I understand the emotions. If you've dealt with being the loved one of somebody who has struggled with suicide, if you have been the loved one that has struggled with suicidal thoughts, I have been there. I have done that. I know, and I've come out on the other side. So that is my little, where am I coming from in today's episode? I want you guys to know that I'm coming from a place of love. I'm coming from a place of been there, done that. And that is why I want to talk about today's topic in this episode. When I have always known that my purpose, I take that back. I have not always known. I have known for a long time that my purpose in life is to help people. I find happiness from helping people. I find joy from helping people, but I also know that I help people in all different aspects, whether it's being there for them one-on-one, whether it's having this podcast and helping people through that, whether it's friends, whether it's family, whether it's clients, it doesn't matter. I love to help people through whatever they are facing in that moment, because odds are I've been through that, or I can help you in some way, somehow. And realizing recently, just getting confirmation from elders of mine that have confirmed, yes, your path, your purpose is to help people. That is why I feel so called to do today's episode, because I know that it is my purpose. And that is why I feel so called to do today's episode. And that's why there is so much intention, so much emotion, so much feelings in today's episode, because I want to help you. I want to help your loved one. I want to help your friend, your family member, anybody in between, a stranger off the street. I want to help you. I want to help you feel seen, heard, and validated. My goal in today's episode is to make sure that you guys never feel alone. Because if you've ever had a suicidal thought once in your life, you know that suicide and suicidal thoughts are the most isolating thoughts in the whole world. And when you are going through the grieving process of grieving somebody who has taken their life, isolation is number one. You feel so isolated. You feel like nobody could possibly understand what you're going through. When you're in those dark places, you feel like nobody can understand what the hell you're going through, the emotions, the anger, the frustration, everything. But I promise you, there are people who understand what you are going through. You are not alone. So simple. You are not alone. And anything that you do in your life, anything that you face in your life, any struggles that you face in your life, you are not alone. That is the goal for today's episode, is for that to really sink into your mind, for you to actually feel it. Because it's one thing to hear you are not alone, but it's another to actually feel that you are not alone, to feel like you're not walking this journey of life alone. That's the goal, is so you guys can feel like you have somebody that understands you out there in the world, out there, this big, scary ass fucking world. You have somebody that understands you, and that's me. I want to tell you guys a little bit more of backstory of me, my battle with suicidal thoughts and where they come from, how I dealt with them, what was my experience. I have been experiencing suicidal thoughts since I was as young as 8 years old, and that's what I can remember. Okay. And I just want to sit with that for just a moment. Since I was 8 years old, the more time goes on, there's more and more stories about how there is young children that are taking their lives. And people think that it is absolutely absurd, and they think that it's new, and it is completely absurd. But I want people to understand that suicidal thoughts at an adolescent age is not new. It's not something brand new that is only coming out in this generation, like the boomers like to call us, okay? It is not a new thing. There has been people who have struggled with suicidal thoughts in their adolescent ages for generations, okay? There is just sometimes kids, especially kids, go through, we're all going through our own shit, but we all have some childhood trauma. There ain't nobody on this planet Earth that has never experienced any childhood trauma. And if you've experienced childhood trauma, then you might have also experienced suicidal thoughts. And that was me. I was dealing with suicidal thoughts since I was 8 years old, when for me, that moment, that tower moment for me was when I was raped, when my innocence was taken away from me when I was 8 years old, and I had nowhere to turn. My rapist told me that if I told anyone, they were going to kill my family. So instead of telling people and having the courage to speak out, I was really afraid, and I felt like I was the problem. I was told that if you say a word, I'm going to kill your family. So if I'm thinking, oh my God, my family is in danger, they're only in danger because of me. And that is where my suicidal thoughts began. I felt like I was in the wrong, quote unquote wrong. You're going to hear me say quote unquote right and quote unquote wrong a lot in today's episode. And that's where that began for me. I really felt like I was in the wrong, that I was the problem, that I was the issue, because I was putting my family in quote unquote danger, even though I wasn't. Truly, I wasn't. This person was the one who was the wrong person. And we know that now, right? Looking at hindsight. But back then, 8-year-old Kianna No, I was the fucking issue. And that's where my suicidal thoughts began. Like I said earlier in the episode, suicidal thoughts feel like isolation. It literally makes you feel like you are on a deserted island and there is absolutely no one in the world that can understand what the fuck you're going through. But I'm here to tell you that that is the exact opposite of the truth. The truth is there is so many people that understand exactly what you're going through, that have been in that exact same deserted island as you. Okay. Having suicidal thoughts is like being a prisoner in your own mind. We all have overthinking thoughts. We all have intrusive thoughts, all of those types of things. But when you have suicidal thoughts, you are the enemy. Okay. You are the enemy. You're literally living with a battle within yourself. And that is what led me to have self-harm, to try to take my own life, was because I literally was my own enemy. I wanted to self-destruct. There was more things that started to happen in my life as I grew older and went into middle school, and then eventually obviously into high school, dealing with issues with my father, dealing with my sexual trauma, dealing with bullying, dealing with so many different things at such a young and an impressionable age, that I saw the only way to stop the noise, the only way out, was to end it all. That is why I began having self-harm and trying to take my own life. You have this thought that you look around at everybody living their life and you think that they're living it in the quote unquote right way. You think that they're happy, that they live their life positively, that they're in the right, they're doing the right things, they're moving the right way, that they're excelling in their life, they're growing, they're changing, they're evolving. And you look at yourself, because it's so inside your own brain. You are so isolated in yourself that you don't even realize that everyone else around you is dealing and is battling issues just like you. So I always say, do not make permanent decisions, okay? Because taking your life is a permanent decision on things that are temporary. I know that it feels like it's not temporary. It feels like you've been feeling this way your whole fucking life. It feels like there's this never ending feeling of just hopelessness and despair. But eventually, it will get better. And if you make that permanent decision of taking your life, you have made a permanent decision on something that was temporary. When I was self-harming and I was dealing with my suicidal thoughts, like heavy, the thick of it, my mom found out. And when I was doing today's episode and when I was writing everything down, I was doing a lot of reflection and I realized how scared my mom was. There was a moment where my mom sent me to live, or not, I wouldn't say necessarily live, but stay with my uncle for a couple of weeks, maybe a month. I can't really remember. And although she had the right intentions, my uncle's wife was somebody who was very strictly religious. And instead of helping me feel seen and heard, she just continued to dig the right versus wrong thing in my head and made me feel like all of my feelings are wrong. And that is completely the exact thing that opposite of what you want to do with somebody who is dealing with self-harm or is dealing with these types of issues. But that's not my mom's fault. Obviously, I don't think she expected for her to do that to me. She did that because, my uncle loved me. I loved my uncle with all of my heart. He was something so special and important to me, and he was a father type figure to me. I looked up to him, and he was meant a lot to me. So she had this idea of, okay, if I send her with him, he can help her. Because mind you, I was going to therapy, I was going to anger management, I was doing a lot of things that the book tells you to do. If you're looking at a parenting book and your parenting book is saying, okay, you have have a child that has suicidal thoughts, you got to take them to therapy, you got to do this, you got to do that, and that's going to fix them. And my mom was doing all of those things, and honey, I was not getting fixed. So the only other thing that she thought, well, maybe I can send her to my brother, my big brother. My mom's the youngest, and maybe he can help. And it helped, but not in the way that my mom thought it was going to help. It helped me because I realized how scared my mom was, how much she loved and cared for me, because eventually my mom came back up to pretty much get me. And I saw the look on her face of the peace that she had just by having her eyes on me and being able to see that I was physically okay, that she hadn't lost me. And I saw that she had so much love. She cared for me. She was scared for me. My mom, I come from a line of women that are not very lovey-dovey. We don't sit there and, oh my God, I love you so much, and like all these words of affirmation. We don't come from a place of that. So to see that on my mom and to even hear some of the words that she would say really woke me up, and it made me realize, wait a minute, this woman loves me so much, even though I feel wrong, I feel dark, I feel dirty, in the sense of like, I feel wrong for thinking the thoughts that I think, right? Of, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to leave. Nobody would love me. Nobody would care about me. All of those types of thoughts. This woman still loves me and cares for me, and I can't be the one to break her. And that's what saved me. That was the initial thought that saved me from taking my own life, was that I cannot do this to my mother. I cannot leave her. I cannot break her. I can't do it. And eventually there was other things that continued to help save me, continued to help me realize that I have a life to live. But that was initially the very first thing that helped me really come out of it. So if you are listening to this episode and you are somebody who has a family member, has a friend, or somebody that has these thoughts, that has the dark scaries, I want you to express your love and gratitude for them. Tell them how much you love them. Tell them how much they mean to you in your world. Tell them how much you can't go on without them, how you will be completely broken inside without them. Tell them everything that you would want to tell them if they did take it, if they did take their life. What would you want to say to them? What would you be crying and pleading for another chance to say to that person? Tell them that, because I promise that could be their lifesaver to literally come back in from all of the hurt and the pain and everything. Okay. And if you are somebody who is listening to this episode and you are dealing with the dark, scary thoughts, when you are dealing with the suicidal thoughts, I want you to know that there is somebody out there who is terrified to lose you. There is somebody out there that is their biggest fucking fear on earth, is to lose you. They want you here. They love you. They cannot go on without you. And you, if you just open your mouth, tell people what is going on, tell people the thoughts that you have in your head, you will hear what you need to hear in that moment. You will hear the love. You will hear the prayers. You will hear the care that they have for you. People who have never had a suicidal thought come into their life, they might think that this is all for quote unquote attention. That's like the number one thing you hear. And as someone who has had suicidal thoughts and who has been terrified to speak up, I was always afraid that they were going to tell me, oh, you're just doing it for attention. And let me just say this, okay? Nobody who is suicidal and who would say, hey, I want to take my own life, wants attention. That's the last thing that they want. Okay. So if you think for even a second that somebody is saying these things because they want attention and woe is me and ha 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 and pay attention to me, you got the wrong fucking thing. That's the last thing someone's going to say if they're asking for fucking attention. Okay. They don't want attention. They want everything to end. Okay, they want the dark thoughts to end. They want the anxiety to end. They want life to end. They want everything to end. That is why they're saying that. It is not for attention. So don't mistake it for attention. And please, 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 please take what people say seriously. And that's with anything, but especially if somebody is coming to you and confiding in you and telling you, I don't want to be here anymore, telling you, I don't want to live life anymore. Take it fucking seriously. I don't care if you feel dramatic. I don't care if you feel like, oh, they're just saying it because they want attention. Take it seriously. There has been way too many people that have been lost because no one took them seriously. I think we as people do not realize how absolutely powerful our mind is. And it can be a double-edged sword. Your mind can be so powerful and make you think that something can happen and you can make it happen, like manifestation, prayer. It's beautiful. But the double-edged sword, the other side of the sword, can make you really believe dark, negative lies. Your mind can make you think that they're not going to give a shit about you, that they're going to be happy that you're gone, that no one's even going to miss you. No one's even going to notice that you're gone, or that you're a burden, or that you're useless. But I want you to know that it's a lie. Our mind is so powerful, but it can be so hurtful. If your mind is telling you that, if the voice inside your head is telling you all of these lies, that you're a burden, that you're useless, that no one would care if you were gone, that no one would notice, that people would be happy, I want you to know that it's a lie. Whatever it's telling you, however real it might feel, it's a lie. And you have to remind yourself that. You have to literally tell yourself, you're lying to me. You're lying to me, to get it to stop. When I was struggling with my suicidal thoughts and tendencies, I wish someone would have just sat down and told me, you matter. You are important. There is something that's bigger than all of this pain that's waiting for you on the other end of this, that you are going to make it through, and you're going to look back and be happy that you made it through because you are going to help so many people. I wish somebody would have just sat there and told me, you matter, your pain is validated, what they did to you was fucking wrong, you're not wrong for the thoughts that you feel, your feelings, your thoughts, all of that is valid. But you are not going to allow those thoughts and those feelings to take over you. You are stronger than that. The main thing that surprisingly made me shift out of that mindset was death. I had a death in my family, and I realized it was my first death, and I realized how much we touch people and we don't even realize it. How much that maybe you were just a coworker to somebody, or maybe you were just a client to someone, or maybe you were just a neighbor, a family member that wasn't close, a friend, anything. And we touch people all the time. That is what is amazing about humans, is that we have these interactions, we have these connections, that we touch people's lives and you don't even realize it. And that's what made me realize that there has to be people that I've touched. There has to be people that give a shit about me besides, obviously my friends, my family, but there has to be more. There has to be something that I'm missing, something I'm not seeing. And that's what made me shift out of this mindset. Something about death and grief is that it can bring gratitude. As much as death and grief brings so much more, like anger, resentment, frustration, sadness, but it also brings gratitude. You are grateful that you have had that person in your life, that you have had their influence has impacted you so much in your life. There's this type of gratitude that you feel that you've only really experienced if you've experienced somebody who has passed over and you've grieved them. And that is what really made me open my eyes to another side of life. And another thing that made me realize, and I still do it to this day, is I look back at moments of my life. This morning I looked back at a moment in my life, even 6 months ago. No, I would say about 8 months ago. And I had no knowledge of something that I have so much knowledge about today, that I didn't even know a word to something. I didn't know a term. But I was so sure in that moment that this term was something else. I was like, no, it has to be this. It has to be this. There's no other term for that. But 8 months later, I know now that there's so many other terms for it. And it makes me smile sometimes, makes me laugh at myself like, girl, you really thought you knew everything. And that's the same thing with life. I look back at 8-year-old Kianna and think, you really thought that was it? That was all that your life was going to be? All of the other things that I have experienced in my life, both sadness and happiness, both anger and joy, all of that, all the good things and the bad things that have happened in my life. And I really thought at 8 years old, that was it. That's all that I wanted to experience. And sometimes I sit there and I laugh and I'm like, girl, no, honey, there is so much more. And I want you to look back at your life, look back at a moment that you thought you knew everything, that was it. You know everything. I'm the queen of this. I got it all. That now you know even more. And that is the beauty of it. That is the beauty of life. If you look at it, you choose to look at it in a beautiful way. You choose to look at it in a happy way. There is so much more that this world and that this life has to offer you, because let me tell you, you were not put on this earth to only experience pain. Because I was not put on this earth to only experience the hurt and the pain that made me want to kill myself. I was not only put here for that. I was put here for so much more. And so were you. You have so much more to experience in this world, both good and bad, but there's so much, because you have all of this stuff that you have to learn. Okay, you are going to teach someone someday, hey, it gets fucking better. Hey, I was there and I overcame it. I'm your voice of reason, and you're going to be somebody else's voice of reason and be like, you're not alone. I got you. We're going to walk through this together. Okay. When I look back at experiencing all of these things, I realize how much my spirituality was there for me through it all. And I didn't even know it. I didn't even know that my intuition was what was nudging me to not take my life. My intuition was the one that was there for me through it all. My guides, my ancestors who were there for me through it all, who were helping me, who were guiding me, who were comforting me, and making me realize that I wasn't alone, making me realize that I have so much that I would be leaving behind. And I encourage you to look within, look at what is it that's telling you, not yet. Telling you, it's not your time. Telling you, no, don't do that. Hold on, wait another day. Or there's something we hear so many stories. They're my favorite types of stories of people who were like, I was going to take my life, but this happened, but the train was delayed, but my family member came home, or somebody called me right in that moment. That is spirit. That is divine. Okay? It's always there. You just got to listen and you just got to pay attention. Another thing that really helped me through this was my creativity, allowing me to express myself in ways that I could not yet express myself with words, because sometimes words are so complex. Sometimes it's really hard to explain in words how the fuck you're feeling, because it doesn't even feel real. It feels so overwhelming. And so look at ways you can use your creativity to express yourself. And it doesn't have to be like, oh my God, literal art, like you're fucking creating a masterpiece. No, I'm talking about journaling. I'm talking about singing. I'm talking about dancing, throwing shit, art, anything that you can do to do something outside of yourself that's not allowing you to be the prisoner in your mind. Do that, because that will help you express yourself, express your anger, and express your pain. Another thing that really helped me was community. Find community in anything. This is your community. I am your community. The other listeners that are listening to this episode right now, while you're listening to this episode, is your community. Okay? You are not alone. You have other communities. You have your friends. You have your family. You can go to church. You can go to spiritual events. Your community at work. There is places that you can find community in if you just simply opened your mouth and expressed yourself, because you will be so shocked and be so surprised by how many other people are feeling the exact same way that you feel today, right now. One trick that I really have kind of perfected and kind of done, because let me tell you, these feelings have not just, snap of the finger, they're gone. I never feel them. I never experienced that. No, babe. No. When my grandma died, I experienced a depressive episode that I have not experienced in a very long time. I was in a very dark space and I wanted to take my own life. I did not want to be here anymore. I did not want to be on an earth where my grandma was no longer here. I could not fathom the idea of me not living in the same realm that she is at. And it made me completely depressed. It made me lay in bed. It made me not be happy. I mean, it consumed me. My mom was scared. My best friend, my husband, everybody was scared. My dogs, everything. And I want you guys to know that just because you heal and you overcome those thoughts does not mean that you are free from the shackles of dark thoughts. They'll come back. That's why we have to have a bulletproof plan on how we can get ourselves out of it. How did we get ourselves out of it the first time, and how are we going to get out of it now? Something that always helps me is I literally have a list of things that make me feel alive. Okay, I know it might be a little silly, but it's things that make me feel alive. What makes me feel alive? And I focus on literally the feeling, like taking a shower. I feel a sensation of hot water on me. I feel alive. Okay. If you want to make it real simple, a shower, a wax, anything that has sensation, a heated blanket, be going out in the cold, an ice bath, whatever that means to you, okay? Doing things that make you feel alive. Literally, if you're in a good headspace right now, if you're in a decent headspace, make a list on your phone on things that make you feel alive. If it's reading a good book, if it's watching your favorite comfort show, if it's going for a walk, if it's going for a run, going to the gym, talking to a friend, whatever the case may be, do the things that make you feel alive when you are in that dark, scary place that you were once before. Do those things and they will help you get out of it. It is not it's going to fix it all and you're going to be completely fine and everything's going to be good. No, but it's going to help you get out of there so that way you can remember the things like grief and gratitude and your family and your friends that love you, that really help you get out of the dark space. To the listener that is listening to this episode who is thinking about taking their own life, I want you to remember that you were not put on this earth to only feel pain. That one day the pain will subside. One day it will end. One day you will feel happiness again. One day you will feel joy. One day it won't feel so heavy. One day it won't hurt so bad. You were not put on this earth to only feel pain. Please do not take your life because of something that feels very heavy in this moment, but might not feel heavy a year, 2, 3 years from now. You are loved. Even if there is no one in your life, you have absolutely no one in your life, I love you. I want you to be here. I want to see you grow. I want to see you evolve. I want to see you chase after your dreams. You do not walk alone. There is nothing that you can experience and you can do on this earth that you will ever be alone. There is always going to be someone, even if it's miles away, even if it's on the other side of the fucking globe. There is somebody that understands you. There is somebody that sees you, that hears you, that validates you. I validate you. I understand what you're going through. I feel the pain that you're experiencing. I feel the heaviness. I understand you. You are never, ever, ever walking alone in anything that you do, especially living with pain. You are valuable to someone somewhere out there, wherever it could possibly be. You are valuable. And with everything that you have, your pain, your anger, your resentment, you are still valuable. You are still worth something. Your life is worth more than you could possibly ever imagine. Do not make permanent decisions on temporary feelings. I have an affirmation here for you guys that I like to repeat to myself when I'm in the dark, scary place. And I want you guys to repeat this to yourself. I want you to write it down on your phone. I want you to put it as your wallpaper. I want you to send it to a friend, send it to a family member, whatever you've got to do, okay? Repeat this when you are in the dark, scary place, when you feel overwhelmed and overcome with all of the hurt and the pain that you are feeling. My pain does not define my life. The dark thoughts will not consume me. I walk forward knowing that this pain will subside. Your life matters because you have purpose. Everyone has a purpose. And if you don't know what your purpose is, I want you to use that as a reason to stay alive. That you need to find your purpose first. You need to realize, well, okay, if I wasn't put on this earth to only feel pain, then what is my purpose? What do you want from me, God, universe, spirit? What is it that you guys want me to do? Why did you plant me here? What is the reason? What is the cause? Why do I need to be here? Once you find your purpose and you find your reason of why you're here, that will be the reason why you will stay alive. That will be the reason why you keep going. And I won't have to convince you. I won't have to tell you. You will feel it. You will know this is why. This is my purpose. Find it. If not, use that for a reason to stay alive. One of my favorite sayings, and it's something that I live my life by pretty much every day. Because you have absolutely no idea what the next day is going to bring. You have no idea what the next month, next year. If you would have told me 3 years ago that my life is what it is today, I would have laughed in your face and told you, hell no, get the fuck out of my face. You have no idea what the hell anything is going to bring you. But what you do know is this too shall pass. Whatever you are going through, whatever pain, whatever stress, whatever worry, whatever it is in your life, this too shall pass. Something that I live my life by every single day. I love you guys so much. This episode was heavy. This episode was emotional. This episode was it was a lot. It was a lot. So I thank you so much for listening to it, for hearing everything that I had to say today, for listening with an open ears and open heart, because I promise you there is going to be somebody someday, sometime that you will use everything that you learned in this episode with them and you will be able to save a life. I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. Like, for real, you all have no idea how much I love you and how much your life is so valuable. I hope you guys have an amazing week going forward. Remember to lead with love, lead with your heart, and have some compassion, have some empathy going forward in this week, because you have absolutely no fucking idea what people are going through. I love you guys so much. And before I leave, I just want to say, you guys are more than welcome to reach out to me through Instagram, through TikTok, whatever you want to do. If you are struggling, if you have nobody else on earth to talk to and you feel like you're at your wit's end and you need somebody, please reach out to me. I am here for you. Through anything, anytime, anywhere, I am here for you. I promise you, you're never alone. And one more thing I want to leave you guys with is that the suicide hotline is literally 998. And I thought this was really cool. You can not only call, but you can text the hotline. I thought that was really cool because I know there was times for me where, I didn't want to talk to anybody on the phone, and a text conversation with somebody would have been really fucking helpful. So that is really cool. Share that with your friends and family. I love you guys so much. I'll see you guys next week on the next episode of the Bestie Talk podcast. Bye.